this will be my second vlog for the Grishaverse trilogy, and this is for the second book, Siege and Storm. So I hope you enjoy reading along with me, watching, getting to see some of my initial thoughts. So I read just a few more pages since I last filmed, and I'm so annoyed because Alina is talking about how only the Darkling understands her because he knows the sadness that she feels, and they're both too different from everyone else, and I just hate that kind of plot so much. I hate it when the main character is like thinks that she's connected to the bad guy because they both know pain and sadness and no one else understands them. So I hope that this doesn't continue throughout this book because I can't stand it. Okay, another thing that just happened that I'm annoyed with is in the first book they took the almost half of the book to find this creature that they were searching for, and they just started searching for this creature literally like 3 pages ago, and then they found it just now. What? It's like supposed to be as hard to find as the first one in the first book, but they found it in 3 pages. So, and then Alina goes, oh, it feels wrong, everything is moving too quickly. And I'm just like, well, yeah, this makes no sense. So I'm not enjoying it so far. Okay, so I am about 200 pages into Siege and Storm, and so far I am absolutely not enjoying it. I'm really annoyed at Mal. I think his character is being so obnoxious with Alina, and I think he's being controlling and annoying, and I am not here for it. I also just think this part of the story where they're on the ship is... why? Why? I just don't really... I'm not into it. I don't know. The second one is more of a personal preference, but not into it. Mainly I'm hating Mal. We are being introduced to new characters, which is what I had hoped for because I didn't really like any of the characters from the first book. But I don't know if I like these new characters either, and I think I'm supposed to. I know that some authors write characters and you're supposed to hate them. I think I'm supposed to like these new ones, and I don't. We'll see. I mean, it's just the beginning of us meeting them, so that could change, but yeah, so far I'm really annoyed. I find myself trying to rush through the pages, which is a sure sign for me that I'm not enjoying the book, because I like to take my time with stories, and I am just trying to get through this one, it seems. So, I don't know, guys. Hopefully it gets better. Right now, Okay, so I'm on page 325 of this book now, and I wanted to give some of my thoughts. I don't have a lot. Nothing really is going on. I feel like I've read 100 pages and not much has happened, or it's like a whole lot of nothing that's going on. I haven't had any strong reactions to anything. Mal is still being annoying. I really cannot stand him. I don't understand why he's being so controlling. It's just annoying to read. What else? I do think Alina is kind of stepping into her new role very well, but also maybe a bit too well. And I can kind of see her going down a path that might not be very great if she keeps this up. So that's a little alarming. But also, again, not much has happened. I mean, it's a whole lot of talking, it's a lot of meetings, it's a lot of, I don't know, looking in the library, and not a lot of anything actually happening. And they also just, I most recently read, did something really stupid and went to a party in disguise, and then afterwards said that it was dangerous and they shouldn't have done it. And I'm like, yeah, you didn't have the foresight beforehand to know that that maybe wasn't the best idea. So I'm now on page 354, and I just wanted to say that Mal is driving me crazy. He is still just being so annoying, and now Alina is being petty because of Mal, and it's so just not enjoyable to read. I also don't get the point. There's much bigger things going on than Mal and Alina's relationship, so I just feel like, why are we spending so many pages talking about it? And why are they acting like they're 12 years old? It's just, Alina's being petty like she was in the first book, and I hated when she was doing that in the first book. And then Mal is just staying being a horrible, horrible, annoying, controlling man. Still not enjoying this very much. Okay, one more thing. Mal, I just read a few more pages, and he's now, first of all, I don't like how whenever Mal gets upset, it's almost never makes sense, and Alina is always like, oh no, I have to fix it, and then she goes and tries to fix it, and he just yells at her for a little, and then she tries to make him not mad. Like, it happens every time, and it's so annoying because he doesn't even have a right to be mad. I don't know why she thinks she needs to fix it. And also, I'm so sick of Mal just feeling insecure. He's like, he thinks he's a commoner. It's just, it's not her fault that she's in this position, and she's told him she doesn't want to be in this position, but she has to stay in this position for the good of more people, and he's just still mad about it. Like, it's so annoying. I cannot stand him. Okay, so I finished Siege and Storm now. It took me a little less than a week to read this book, and I have some thoughts on it, not that many, as I mentioned earlier in the vlog. So overall, I didn't like this book. I think it's probably like a 2 stars for me. I was really unhappy with it. I guess I can start with what I did like about it, and that was that we were introduced to Nikolai, and I really like his character. I think he is one of the most well-written characters in this book, and he's also one of the only characters that I don't have any issues with, which is kind of sad. But yeah, I enjoyed meeting him. I enjoyed getting to see him interact with Alina. Pretty much anything to do with Nikolai was a big positive for me. I really enjoyed his story. And I think that's really it for what I liked from this book, honestly. That's the only bone I'm gonna throw it. The things that I didn't like were plenty. Number one, and I mentioned this as I was reading, I hated Mal in this story. I didn't really like him very much in the first book, but I didn't have very strong opinions on that. He just didn't stand out to me as a character. But in this second book, he stood out in the worst way. I hated him. Thought he was so controlling and immature and insecure when he didn't need to be. I just had a really hard time understanding where a lot of his feelings were coming from. They didn't make sense to me, and I tried my best to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I just was so confused by his behavior a lot of the time. And not just confused, but annoyed, because I felt like he was just complaining to Alina, and then she was always having to make him feel better, and he wasn't trying hard to make himself feel better about his insecurities. He was just like expecting Alina to bow down to him and make him feel better. So huge negative. I hated that. Also, as I mentioned a little bit in the vlog too, I didn't really get the point of this book. I was really pissed off by how fast they caught the second creature. Again, I'll be vague, but it happened in 20 pages, where as the first book, it took almost the whole entire book for them to catch the first creature. So that was it was done too fast. It seemed a little silly. I didn't feel the weight of it because it happened so quickly. And then she just had what she needed for the rest of the story. I don't know. I just thought that was done very poorly. And I didn't see the need. I think they could have waited to find this creature, and it would have been more valuable for the story to have kind of played out a little bit more before she found the second creature. So that really, really annoyed me as well. And also just overall, I feel like a lot of the things that happened in this book just didn't need to happen. Like, they were setting up and they were preparing for a lot of stuff, and there was a lot of meetings, and it just seemed like, why did I read this book? I guess my overall thoughts are like, why did this book exist? It didn't need to exist. I feel like I could have gone from the first book to what is going on now in the third book, because I've started reading it, and I would have been fine. I didn't need the middle book. I didn't need anything that happened in the middle book, really. Except for, again, Nikolai. He's a pretty important character, and also I just enjoyed his character. But outside of that, I could have lived my whole life without reading this book, and it just wasn't that great. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Once again, overall 2 stars, not a fan. I am currently reading the third book, and I'm liking it much better, so I look forward to continuing to vlog that and putting a video out for that book. But this one,
waking up feeling like it's gonna rain.